Recording is in progress.
Thank you very much. You are all welcome to this Continental UnityNet Africa and Diaspora Continental meeting. We want to invite Madam Jane from Kenya, who is the Continental Secretary, to introduce the agenda for today. So we go right away. Thank you, Jane. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Continental President, Dr. Carlos, for the opportunity, and for everyone for gathering here for the meeting, adhering even to the timing. Thank you very much for honoring the call. And I believe we are going to have a productive meeting today. So without taking any more time, I'm going to introduce to us the agenda for the day. And as you heard from the Continental President, my name is Jane Njoroge from Nairobi, Kenya. I am the Continental Secretary General, and it is a pleasure to meet all of you here. So let us proceed. I want to go back to my page so that I can access the agenda for the day to take us through. And I hope I'm clear. Oh my God. Hello.
Yes, you're very clear. Yes, you're very clear.
Oh, I've been clear. Okay, I thought I'm muted. Let me just go back, go to the platform so that I can retrieve the agenda for the day. Just a minute. Okay, here we go. Our agenda for the meeting today, which is on the 7th of January 2022 via Zoom meeting. That is 20 hours African time, 7 hours West African time. And before I continue, I want to request each and every one of us to mute their microphones, please. Mute your mic if you're not speaking so that we can be able to communicate. Thank you very much. So back to our agenda for the day. Our first agenda will be, this is a welcome note statement from the Continental President, who is Dr. Carlos Sanko. The second agenda will be the adoption of the last minute. The third agenda is the updates from the chapters, that is the presentations, which are accompanied by the PowerPoint. On the same line or on the same note, we are going to have UnityNet Kenya from East Africa starting off their presentations. And then we are going to have UnityNet Nigeria following, followed by UnityNet Tanzania. The next one will be UnityNet Malawi, UnityNet Nigeria follows, and then we are gonna have UnityNet Sierra Leone. We will have UnityNet Guinea, that is West Africa. We are also going to have UnityNet Ghana making their presentation. We will move on to UnityNet Benin. And then we are gonna have UnityNet DRC Congo. We are going to also have UnityNet Cameroon. And lastly, we are going to have, not lastly, we are going to have UnityNet Egypt. Lastly, we are going to have UnityNet South Africa making their presentation. That is agenda number 3. Agenda number 4, we are going to have updates from the Continental Program Directors. That is their strategic plans, their annual plans, the M&E and monthly plans. Number 5, we are going to look at the action points, which is going to be accompanied by suggestions and recommendations from the team. And lastly, we are going to go to our AOBs, any other business, our closing remarks. Our next continental meeting is dated 24th of January 2022. It has been communicated prior so that we can book dates. and plan to attend. Yeah, that is our agenda for the day. And we are going to start off by introductions. We are going to introduce ourselves, and I'm going to call out the names of the person that is going to introduction, and then I'll call out the next so that we can go in order.
Yeah, sorry,
So,
Madam Jane. Yes,
off,
Madam Jane. Madam Jane, can I
yes,
say something? Yes.
Yes, you may.
Yeah, so for the introduction, it's going to be like this. It's going to be very brief because we have a lot today to ensure that we have time for the rest of it. So you say your full name, the country and the chapter you're representing, and your position. Done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President, for the clarity. So the person that is going to start us off is Leone. Leone, if you can hear me, kindly unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us, please. You are muted, sir. Kindly unmute yourself. You're still muted, sir. Touch on the icon.
I touched. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Nyuma Tranquileno, Project Director, Guinea.
Thank you very much. We go to Kato.
Welcome, sir, madam. Hello.
Mr. Kato, you're there. Kindly go ahead and introduce yourself to us. Mr. Kato, can you hear us? Are you there? Okay, as Mr. Kato prepares him, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you,
good
sir.
evening, Madam Ebo, John. Yeah, Professor Carlos.
Yes, you can go ahead. We can hear you clearly. Okay, as we wait for his network to respond, we are going to go to...
Thank you for being on board this very night. Yes, good evening. Good evening from Tanzania.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, I am Philbert Kato from Tanzania, Project Director. Yeah, may you please repeat, Madam Jen Joroge, that after the introduction, what should I do?
We are going to advise you. We are going to advise you on the next step. You're just to introduce yourself, your name, your position, and the country you come from. Okay, we go to Mr. Damas Kambadu. Mr. Damas?
Yes, good evening. I'm Mr. Damas Kambadu, ordinary member for Tanzania chapter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We go to Susan Yego.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My names are Susan Yego, working with the Ministry of Agriculture in Kenya. I'm an agricultural engineer and also an extension field officer. I'm also a project director in UnityNet Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Susan. We go to Emeran Riziki. Emeran Riziki, kindly unmute yourself.
My name is Emeran Riziki from Tanzania, a director of Education Stars in the universe and an NGO. I'm just an ordinary member here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We go to Namara.
Yes, name is Namasa from Uganda, and I'm the Secretary General for the Uganda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Namara. We go to Heather. Madam Heather.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Heather Fingerland. I represent South Africa team, and I'm very honored to be here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Heather. We go to Chantal.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Chantal Maxim, and I'm part of Heather's team, South Africa.
Thank you very much. We go to Carmen.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Program Director. I am Ambassador Karl Schmidt. I am the Program Director of Unity South Africa team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We go to Heinrich.
Heinrich van der Merwe, part of the South African team, agricultural engineering. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We go to Patrick Nkoma. Mr. Patrick Nkoma, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. I'm Patrick Nkoma from Malawi. I am the Continental Program Director. Also, country president for UnityNet. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for that brief. The next person is going to be Gabriel Ngubu. Gabriel Ngubu, are you there, sir? As we wait on him, we are going to go to Doris Kamaga.
Good evening, everyone. I'm called Doris Kamaga, Vice Secretary General, Uganda Chapter.
Thank you very much. We go next to Ambrose Okite.
Yes, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on where you're coming from. Ambrose Okite is my name. I'm here as the Project Director, Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you. We go to Ambassador Ayodele Isaac.
Okay, good evening to everyone. My name is Ayodele Isaac, the President of UnityNet African Uganda Chapter.
Thank you, sir. We go to Zaituni. Zaituni, you're there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, can
Good
you go
evening,
ahead?
everybody. My name is Zaituni Kwarulo from Tanzania Chapter, Secretary General. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me see whether I have missed on anyone. We go to Evelyn Achieno. Evelyn Achieno.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Evelyn Acheno, Assistant Project Director, Uganda Chapter.
Okay, thank you. We go to Haiti.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Heidi Shooter. I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm part of Heather's team. I am IT support or ICT support.
Thank you, ma'am. We go to David Washira. Mr. David Wachira. As we wait for him to come aboard, we go to Nancy. Nancy Bamoy. Yes, Madam Nancy, go ahead. We can hardly hear you, Madam Nancy. We can't get you clearly, Madam Nancy. You're breaking. Okay. Okay, we cannot hear you, Madam Nancy. We can go to David Washira as you try to correct your connectivity issue. Mr. Washira?
Yeah, I'm David Washira from UnityNet Kenya chapter, ICT and Communication Director.
Thank you, Madam
Can you hear me?
Nancy. You can try introducing yourself before we move on.
Good day now.
We still cannot get you clearly. This is Madam Nancy Gbamoy from Sierra Leone. She's the Sierra Leone Secretary General, Sierra Leone chapter. Thank you, ma'am. We go to Kolofelo.
Hi, good evening. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Kulufelos Kosana. I'm with Team South Africa.
Thank you very much. Next person, we go to Reverend Samson.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm Samson Oluoch, the Continental UnityNet Official Advisor.
Thank you very much, sir. We go to Ambassador Edgar. Ambassador Edgar, can you hear me? Kindly introduce yourself. You can go ahead, sir.
My name is Edgar Bejum. Hello, everyone. My name is Edgar. Yeah, my name is Edgar Bejumula, all the way from Tanzania. Yeah, everyone is pretty fine. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. We go to Mohammed.
I'm here. I'm Edgar from Tanzania.
Okay, that is Mohammed, right? Is that Mohammed? Do we have Mohammed here? We just heard from Edgar Bulema. Okay, Mr. Mohammed is not aboard. I don't know if I have missed on anyone. Right now, we can go to Mr. Lloyd.
Yes, you
Mr.
actually
Lloyd,
have.
kindly introduce yourself to us.
You actually have missed someone. Me.
Okay, please. Yes.
I'll take this moment to share my screen. I'm Andrew Williams Jr. My contact information is in the chat. Technically, Andrew Networks is your sponsor. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prince Andrew, for the introduction. Mr. Lloyd, you're there.
Yes, hello, how are you doing? So I'm Lloyd Helps. I am one of the co-founders of the Global Unity Network, of which, of course, UnityNet Africa Diaspora is our first continental chapter as we move forward and develop this global network. So I am also, of course, working with Andrew Williams Jr. Through a partnership with Drawdown Markham, as the co-founder administrator of We Energize Global Cooperation Turtle Island. We're working together to establish this network as part of the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors and Activists, AHIABGA Goodwill Ambassador Network, which is, of course, seeking to empower our communities to engage with the Royal, Indigenous, and tribal leadership, as well as interfaith, business, academic, and neighborhood collaboratives to leave no one behind. So just very quick.
Thank you very much, sir, for the introduction. Right now, we go back to our Continental President, Dr. Carlos, for a welcome note and a statement from his office. Mr. Continental President, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Madam Jane. Thank you, everyone that have introduced themselves. I think we have somebody who is called Sanko who has not introduced himself yet. And
okay.
Mr. Sanko, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Okay, so maybe he is coming later. Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to our third strategic continental meeting. My name is Carlos Richard Sanko. I am the continental president for UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. I am currently based in Sierra Leone. I'm also the CEO for Focus on Rural Development Sierra Leone. And I'm also the continental lead for ICD University Eco Village and Global Social Business Partnership in Africa. So thank you. I welcome you all to this wonderful meeting. And this is a strategic focus meeting. We're going to look at this year and the next 6 years, what we are going to do. And so therefore, the various chapters in Africa that we were established so far and active, they have the opportunity today to present their strategic plans, their annual plans, their M&E, and also monthly plans. And together with possible partners in various countries, both across Africa and globally. So today, we're going to spend a whole lot of time to hear from the various presenters from each country. And so you have the opportunity. Please, it's one person that's going to represent each chapter to do the presentation. And so you have 15 minutes to go to do your presentation, meaning you have 10 minutes to do your presentation, and you fairly have 5 minutes to look at your presentation and get back to the next presentation. So please, I want Andrew to help us with timing to ensure that we track the time and ensure that we manage our time appropriately. So,
well, thank you for the opportunity. However, I'm hosting another event, so I make several co-hosts. I'd have to ask Jane to assist with that instead of me. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. So I will also ask a second person to support Jane, probably my colleague, co-founder Lloyd, and can help us also with timing. I also want to tell you, to notice you that Lloyd as a co-founder from the global team is here to represent the global team and be able to support the process of what we are doing in Africa and looking at the professional and technical aspect of it and what is going to be the best for Africa and how Africa is going to be the pivotal for emulation for other regions in the world, like Europe, Asia, etc. So this is a strategic moment. And I also will be getting also updates from Uganda for our continental secretariat registration situation. So we're going to have a whole lot of things that are coming from last year to now, what so far we have done. So over to you. We go to the agenda right away. So the agenda we have, the agenda already is read. And so therefore we want to look at the last minutes and if we have anything to say around it and adopt it. So after that one, we're going straight to the presentation. So I hope Kenya is ready. and after Uganda, so we don't have to waste time, please. As soon as this one is done, then the next chapter, so that we'll be able to manage our time well. And so this is the agenda as you are saying it, so please, and everybody has the agenda. And so we go back to the minutes, the last minute. And so far, for the last minute, I guess that one has been shared with everyone. If you have issues or concerns around it, you can say it. Otherwise, we need people to move the last minutes and move to the next point. Were we able to go through the last minutes? All right, okay. So based on the last minute, one of the actions that accumulated, that we agreed that we're going to set up a strategic plan, annual, monthly, and M&E plans. And also we're going to develop our projects this year, what we are going to do for this year and the subsequent coming years. That's exactly what we agreed the last time. And so therefore, I think if we, today is going to be the presentation for what we have agreed. I don't know if people have anything in relation to or concerns around the last minute. Otherwise, we are 5:32, so which means we are 5:32. So we go straight to the presentations. So I ask UnityNet Kenya, which is in East Africa, to submit or to do their presentation. Sorry. I'll stop sharing now and open up to Unity Kenya to do their presentation. Over to you, Kenya. Who is going to present for you? Just
Madam
go
Susan?
through this. Yeah, okay.
Madam Susan is making our presentation.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Professor Richard Carlos. And here I am, UnityNet Kenya. I am the project director for UnityNet Kenya. And I am going to make a brief presentation, and I'm not going to use my computer because my computer has some technical issues. So I'm only going to speak. I would say that UnityNet Kenya, we have a subcommittee. And our subcommittee is comprised of training induction, and we have Madam Jane Njoroge as leading us in that committee. Then we do have administration, finance, audit, and legal. That's another subcommittee. We also have a logistic procurement and programs. That's a third committee. We have our communication liaison committee. That's the fourth one. We have a fifth one, agriculture, forestry. That's a fifth subcommittee, and I head that one. And we have business entrepreneurship and partners. That's another subcommittee. We have the seventh subcommittee, and that is education, youth, and children. We have the eighth subcommittee, and that is women, culture, and tourism. Now, in these subcommittees, we would like to know how the subcommittees are going to get involved in the action plan. So I request all subcommittees to put their specific tasks and then be able to submit them immediately to facilitate a smooth running of the plans. As I have mentioned, we have 8 subcommittees, and out of the 8 subcommittees, we are in the process of making, each subcommittee is actually making a presentation on how they are going to get involved in the action plan and the rule, and for the smooth running of the plan. And because of this, we are here. I believe all the members of the 8 subcommittees are in this forum today, and they are able to capture what is needed. And I believe that in every subcommittee, we are required to make our own WhatsApp group so that we can be able to work together, put our heads together, and come up with all these requirements. We also have, we need kindly note that each chapter shall do a presentation. And I'm making this presentation on behalf of Kenya chapter. And I should say about the progress is that from the time we started our UnityNet Kenya, we have had, that is from the year 2021, we have had at least 2 meetings in a month. And those are those who are planning meetings to plan and strategize. We did come up with a UnityNet action plan for the year 2022. And I believe our president, Madam Jane Njoroge, was able to transmit it further to the Continental. And in our action plan, we had the induction and orientation. The action required was to carry out induction of new members and align them to the principles, social goals, and aspirations of the Global Unity Network. And then we came to the responsible persons for the administrative action plan. The UnityNet Kenya board was to be instrumental in the action plan. When we came to the project timeline, we said that that one it is continuous and that the induction will be registered. When we come to the action item number 2 was registration and development of UnityNet Kenya Constitution. The action plan required there is to pursue registration of UnityNet Kenya with the relevant registration bodies and then develop UnityNet Constitution. And I should say that up to this point, we have taken a step forward, and the registration is online. We have already developed our UnityNet Constitution. We have gone through it as board members. And for the registration, we already have our forms. It is just for us to fill the forms. We do have, we have a person who made a donation, just a partly donation towards the registration. Therefore, we still need some more contribution towards the registration of our chapter. When we come to the action plan, UnityNet Kenya board is supposed to do the administrative action plan. And the timeline is from January 2022 up to May 2022. Now we come to the action item number 3, physical office space. In the physical office space, in our various meetings, we talked about identifying a suitable office location, that is a physical office, around Nairobi or Nakuru, being the central command center for the execution of UnityNet day-to-day operations. Then we came to the administrative action plans, that is UnityNet Kenya board, to be able to put that in implementation. And then the quarterly or the timeline project for having the office is every quarterly, that is every 3 months. We're supposed to report every 3 months. Now we come to the action item number 4, physical meetings. I've mentioned about that one. The physical meetings are to be scheduled and executed periodically, face-to-face meetings with all UnityNet Kenya. So here we decided to have at least once or twice after every 2 months, we should have a face-to-face or physical meeting. And since we are looking forward to have our own office, that would be very possible, because within the office would have a small meeting place and have chairs, probably, and tables. And that is where the UnityNet board would meet on quarterly basis, at least every 3 months. Minutes and meetings and photographs will also be taken as evidence. And then we come to action number 5, tree planting. This tree planting, which symbolizes peace and reconciliation, The action required here is we have to undertake tree planting activities across all mapped jurisdiction within the country to foster peace and reconciliation, to promote harmonious coexistence of members of the community supported. And for the technical action plan, it was the UnityNet Kenya, it is the UnityNet Kenya, the NGOs, CBO, and local government to get involved. And the timeline was January to August. Number of trees to be planted, number of security incidents threat reported. Now this timeline, as we looked at it, because since January we have had about 2 meetings, Kenya board members meeting, and we have seen that June is not far from here. We are supposed to plant the trees in the month of June. Now we are in the month of January. Therefore, we have at least 4.5 months to go to plan properly on how to plant these trees, identify the regions, the places, the beneficiaries in the entire regions. And this calls for several virtual meetings to plan properly and be prepared for the tree planting session or season. Now we come to the 6th agenda or the 6th action item in the plan. It is community engagement, sensitization, and awareness. This one, the action required here is to carry out, we are supposed to carry out local community engagements, sensitization, and awareness programs. Example, hosting in-person community engagement events, summit virtual discussions as part of a wider regenerative program targeted to achieve localization of sustainable development goals. The technical action plan here is UnityNet Kenya are supposed to be active in implementing this. And our timeline was to begin as from January 2022 to December 2022. Now, I'm coming to the 7th one, and this one, it is education and training. In education and training as the action item, we have come up to develop and deliver entrepreneurship, focused learning and mentorship programs and solutions, both in person and virtual, to local communities within each targeted jurisdiction, with special focus on the youth and the FFHE to impart them with skills and practical solutions for achieving a regenerative and sustainable economy within their respective local communities. Then we have the action plan or technical action plan is this one. It is that the UnityNet Kenya, the CBOs, religious, community, and national and county government agencies are going to be they're the ones who are going to implement this action plan, and they'll be so instrumental towards accomplishing these ones in respect to local communities. We need each other as CBOs, religious community, national and community government agencies to implement this, and the timeline is going to be every 3 months, that is quarterly. Excuse me. Then we come to the ecosystem, number 8. Ecosystem service protection and restoration. This is to support the preservation and management, restoration of natural ecosystems and their services to reduce the vulnerabilities of the local communities against adverse impacts of climate change. Who are to involved? The ones who are to be involved in this action plan is UnityNet Kenya, CBOs, religious community, and national and county government agency. We shall work together in collaboration to make sure that we have implemented that agenda. And the timeline is now January up to December 2022. There is no active engagements in the protection of ecosystem services. Number 9, to establish and maintain collaboration and strong partnership with potential donors and partners. This is, we are supposed, as a chapter, we have to identify and establish and maintain strong partnership and collaborative networks with potential donors and other partners, including religious, faith, business community, CBOs, etc., established within the local jurisdiction and communities to help achieve UnityNet Kenya's regenerative development goals. And the technical action plan is to be undertaken by UnityNet Kenya and UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. Our timeline is from January or December 2022. There are a number of partners and donors on board. We have quite a number. We shall have quite a number of partners and donors coming on board to help us with implementing all these action items that I have mentioned above. Now, I would say that at this point, I would like to acknowledge Mr. David Kamau for donating 10,000 shillings, Kenyan shillings, to UnityNet Kenya to facilitate our registration. Mr. David Kamau is our communication director in UnityNet Kenya. And I would like also to talk about the progress of UnityNet Kenya. We shall be operating at national level. We shall also be operating at regional, county, and community level. I will not take so much time into talking about UnityNet Kenya, but I've already given out a summary of UnityNet Kenya. And I would like to give another comment or observation that since we started UnityNet Kenya, we have been motivated so much by the events that were there last year. Like one of the events that motivated most of us is participating in the 16 days of activism for development. This one got us fired up to continue with UnityNet Kenya, and also to continue with project proposals, and also to continue with other meetings and other forums, especially in agri-diplomacy global meetings. And that is where we meet once or twice a month. We may not be knowing the memorandum of understanding that have been drawn between agri-diplomacy global with UnityNet, Africa and Diaspora. At this level, we may not know, we may not understand the memorandum of understanding, whether we have signed it or not, but we can participate I believe as UnityNet Kenya, we have participated and we are going to continue to participate. And also it is open for individual participation. I would also want to make a comment here. The last comment is we do have this tree planting. In UnityNet Kenya, we have already met several times. Last year and towards the end of the year and beginning of this year as board. We also have another meeting for UnityNet Kenya members. We are also going to plan and make a work plan for tree planting. That is the major project that we have that has been organized from the Continental for every chapter. We are attacking this one, or we are preparing ourselves in such a way that we shall sit down as members of UnityNet Kenya, right from the board to the entire members, to discuss how we are going to go about this one, who is going to be the beneficiary, how we are going to identify which trees are suitable for which zone, how we are going to get the tree seedlings. All these things are supposed to be dealt with virtually and also physically. And at this point, I should say that we have mentioned a few things. We shall surely need finances. We shall need finances for all the chapters to reach a point where we have to go to the ground, because we cannot only hold virtual meetings. We really have to go to the ground and identify whom we can work with and collaborate with in the government institutions, in the administrative sector, and be able to have sit down on a table and draw a plan on how we can reach the people who are going to benefit from these tree seedlings, and also be able to train them or teach them how to manage them and tell them the reason and the purpose why we want to plant the tree seedlings. It is for peace and reconciliation. And up to there, I would like to end my presentation. I want to say thank you to everyone for listening, and thank you, Professor Carlos. Thank you, Madam Jane Njoroge, our able president of UnityNet Kenya, for giving me this opportunity to make a presentation for UnityNet Kenya. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Susan, for your presentation. We appreciate you so much, you team, for what you have done. Please submit your presentation or all your plans that you've developed, submit them to the Continental Secretary General team so that we're going to have all the plans that goes to all the chapters. So we're going to chemistry, all the plans together and ensure that we have our continental strategic plan and also the annual plan and monthly plan so that we start operations. In relation to the project proposals that are coming up, thank you so much. So I think with that, I just want to say you mentioned about agri-diplomacy. From my knowledge, we have from my own knowledge, up to this time, we don't have any MOU with any organization yet. So therefore, please, I want us to really observe protocols. If we are representing, we're going to represent UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. Let it come from the leadership that it is endorsed, and we are sure that what you're going to present or the representation you are going to do is in line with the policies or the rules and regulations of UnityNet. So because we don't want to cause confusion, and we want every member of UnityNet, though we are all volunteering for now, for us to abide to the rules and regulations of all the compliance system of the NGO system. And now that we started operating legally, because from the from the sound message we had from Uganda, very soon they are going to tell us the good news that I don't want to pronounce. Thank you so much once again, Madam Jane. All what Madam Susan and your team, all what you've submitted, we're going to put that together at continental level for us to move. And so we move to the next team. And the next team is what? Can somebody help me?
It's Uganda on the schedule.
Oh, Uganda. So please, Uganda, go ahead. And already I'm seeing DR Congo is there already. So please, DR Congo, can you just exit from the sharing box so that you queue DR Congo. Please exit. Who is going to present for Uganda?
For Uganda, good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Malaika for Uganda. We've organized as a team, and our able president, Mr. Bishop Ayodele, is going to do the presentation, and our project director, Mr. Ambrose. Yes, Ayodele, I think he's online. Yes. Bishop.
Yes. Good evening. Yes, good evening.
Can you share your screen, please?
Okay, sorry for that. Good evening to you, everyone on board. My name is Ayodele Isaac, the president of UnityNet Uganda. We want to bring our project directors on board, Mr. Okite, to give us the presentations of our action plans from Uganda. Mr. Okite, please, if you're on board, you can come in.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I earlier on shared the presentation already. I don't know whether it is to the Continental Secretary has them, maybe to flash them on the computer, like to power it on. Madam Secretary General, do you have it with you?
No, sir, I don't have your presentation. It was to be sent to me, but it wasn't.
Oh, thank you so much. Maybe I can go through it, then I will be able to share with you because I'm using my phone, though I have the computer with me. I tried linking the computer and the internet access. It was not so much good, but let me try. In a due course, I will be able to share as I begin because I know time is not on our side.
Go ahead.
Yes, the content that I have here is the strategic plan overview of Uganda, aspiration of Uganda, indicators, general activities that we have planned. We also have the work plan, the annual work plan, which talks about the administrative activity and the general project activity. And then we have the M&E plan with the activity and the output. So majorly, Uganda covers an area of 241,038 kilometers square, and a third of the land is covered with fresh water and wetlands, having a population of about 32 million. That's according to UBOS 2010. That is Uganda Bureau of Statistics. And about 60% of the population are below the age of 18 years. The opportunity that is in Uganda that we were seeing in our plan, it looks at empowering community of oil and gas sector. It talks about empowering people in the tourism sector and minerals, supporting the ICT business, that is information communication and technology. And then there's a lot of workforce which needs to be built, like skill building for employment. We have quite a number of that we need to work on. And then there is wildlife conservation, because we have several game parks, close to 9. And also we have water resources, which is covering, as I had mentioned earlier on. Then offshoring of industries and services, including agro-based industries. Now, in this sector, we're also looking at physical infrastructure. That includes the ICT infrastructure, science, technology, innovation, engineering, and human resource. That is under strategic plan that we are looking at from the overview side. Now, when we get to the aspiration and indicators that Uganda, or in the Ugandan context, we want to achieve and ensure that we have this. One, we want to have a corruption-free nation with strong democratic structures and systems. Here, I want to see that the rule of law and the processes that govern the country, including the community around, should be at least a little bit free out of corruption. The second one, I want to see a future in which men, women, youth, children, and persons with disabilities are empowered to participate as equal partners in development. We don't want to leave anyone behind. And then we looked at the aspiration of gainful employment, savings, and investment, where Uganda and the population are able to be employed, they're able to save and also invest. We also intend to have a society free of hunger with a strong societal safety net, looking at education, looking at the health sector, and then looking at the areas that support a human being to be holy in relation to the well-being of the society. And then we're looking at a green economy and clean environment where the ecosystem is sustainably managed in the country. We want to achieve that, and we are looking up to that. And then also we want to look at the fairness, justice, respect, truth, and responsibility of the citizens. So these are what we want to achieve as maybe time goes by within the six years that has been mentioned. Now the activities entail and this opportunity by strengthening the fundamentals. Here where we were looking at improving societal development indicators while strengthening governance systems and structures. To see that at least the resources which are collected or the policies which are in place support the general operation of this of the resources within the country. We're also looking at enable community actors as units and deliver goods and services efficiently and effectively. So in the production aspect of it, we want to see that the population within Uganda are able to produce and deliver goods in a more friendly manner. And then also looking at community sector market-driven actions. Here we want to see that, yes, what the community will be investing in should be able to be driven by the markets so that at the end of the day, the lives of the community is transformed. And then we also realize that, yes, in Uganda, aspects of land ownership by women, based on the patriarchal nature of Ugandan society, women are not given opportunity to have land or own. So in that regard, we want to see the acquisition of land by women for ownership and development as also something that women should be able to participate in that arena. And the next one that we want to see, we want to invest in better urban systems and enhance productivity, livability, and sustainability of the urban dwellers. In most cases, town areas or the urban centers within the town is not planned. Sometimes the waste management is not so good. So we also want to see how we can improve our urban centers so that at least it's livable and it is sustainable in nature. The next activity that we have planned, it is the innovation system. Here we want to develop and support in areas of technology, science, engineering, and human resource development, taking care of also the public sector management and private sector development, so that at the end of the day, all participate. The next area that we want to is the key infrastructures. Areas will be in agriculture, tourism, wildlife, oil, energy, transport, and ICT. We also want to see how best we can ensure that some of the infrastructures in the agricultural sector, in the tourism sector, the wildlife sector, and energy, transport, and ICT is supported to improve and also maybe attract some resources that will support, empower the community living along those sites. And then also one of the activities that we want to work on is the community and citizens' attitude and mindset, as well as the national values shall be nature to develop more responsible and productive citizens. You know, transformation of a society or a community, it hinges around the attitude and the mindset. So we want to do an in-depth sensitization awareness question to ensure that the community or the population within Uganda appreciates and practice the transformation that we would want them to do, or whatever they would come out with that is a little bit sustainable and it is friendly while taking care of the environment. We would promote that. So we want to see that at least for those ones who understand that we promote. For those ones who do not, we really want to see that we encourage them.
How do I go back? How do I...
Thank you. I thought that I was being...
Yes, please continue.
Collaboration, we are looking at collaborate with the neighbors in the implementation of the plan, because as alone we may not be able to. And then the last activity we had planned was to do a lot of fundraising to finance the investment and visit over the planned period that we have planned. Going to our plan for the 6 years, from the administrative point of view, we want to support, conduct self-assessment and appraisal of partner organizations under UnityNet. Here we're looking at the organizations that have formed UnityNet within the country, within Uganda. We really need to know their capacity gaps and see how we can support them. And then we intend to hold meetings with the partners, the project concept, yes, for those partners that we have assessed and we want us to work together. We really need to see that at least we support them to appreciate some of the ideas, also to learn from them the best ways they would want to improve some of the issues at the community. Then we also want to identify the gaps, needs, and prioritize the needs of what we need to do. And then there's a report on the appraisal recommendation of partner organizations for support. So we want to look at who needs support among the partners so that at least we're able to move together without leaving one behind. And then there's a development of action point to address the gaps, tailored action plan. Here we're looking at, yes, if we have identified these partners who need our support as the umbrella of UnityNet Uganda, we also need them not to. Then there's the generation of work plans for these partner organizations so that also they have a working document to support their operations. And then also we intend to support partners to implement their plans, generation and analysis of existing opportunities based on their locations, because Uganda is diverse and with the resources given at different locations. So we also want to see that we support them based on what they have. And then we're looking at also create linkages to identify the market and conditions stock research. So we're looking at how can we support these people, link up with other, or maybe to see that also they're working through the market-driven solution. Support partners to negotiate the opportunity, given maybe if a partner comes in and wants to support, we want them to negotiate, or even from the private sector. In case there's an opportunity, we want them at least to have a better negotiation term so that at least the resources is not taken away from them, but at least they're empowered. And then we're looking at arranging the MOU between UnityNet and other opportunities that may come within the Ugandan context. Yes, we want to see that at least we have this done. And then identification and development of enterprises for sustainable funds. Much as we would want to do charity and support and empower, but also want to see how can we continue with our operations while utilizing our resources that we have. And then we're also looking at organized fundraising events within the country to see that at least we have some finances or cash to support our operations. We're looking at building networks and partnership within a Ugandan context and also maybe with the partners outside Uganda. We're looking at doing a lot of resource mobilization through solicited and unsolicited fundraising. We're looking at mentoring the enterprise leaders through capacity building. Yes, we know in a network, we have leaders across, be it community, be it an association within the community or grassroots. We also want them at least to be empowered so that they are able to run some of the interventions by their own at their locality. And then we intend to legalize UnityNet African Diaspora in Uganda, and we have given a time zone. This is all these activities I'm talking about. It stretches for 1 year, and based on what we have achieved, we shall carry on some other activities in the next year, and also include maybe the new intervention that will come in. In the project area, here we're looking at identifying and establishing regional eco-village learning sites. We have about 6 regions in Uganda, so we're looking at least we should be having those learning sites across the country. So the other one that we're looking at is the healthcare services promotion, adoption of the good practices in the healthcare sector. The quality, improving the healthcare and system performance. We're looking at family health approach in ensuring that the households have quality healthcare services. And then also we're looking at education sector. Here we're looking at improving the grades of students and pupils at school, which includes maybe nutrition and maybe the reading capacity of these children. We're looking at reducing the dropout rates of pupils and students by encouraging them with some of the intervention, because a lot of dropouts in Uganda, it comes as a result of maybe feeding, poverty, somebody cannot pay the school fees for this child to study. So by coming out with intervention, like maybe agricultural intervention, where communities or households are able to secure funding, then definitely we'll support this. And then we also want to improve the quality of education for pupils and students. We are looking at our core would be the livelihood, economic security promotion, and adoption of good practices in the farming sector or in the agricultural sector. So here also we're looking at the alternative vocational skills for poverty eradication, or maybe the dropouts or those who maybe would want that. And then we're looking at strengthening income generation activities for the community and households. We're looking at conducting capacity building to improve performance of the subgroups that we are supporting. And then we're looking at organizing bulk marketing, because in the Ugandan context, there's a lot of individual selling of commodities, which sometimes the buyers get to cheat some of the people who are selling their produce. And then we're looking at environmental conservation and endangered species. Here we're looking at conservation, waste management, and biodiversity support. And then also we're looking at the aspect of peace building and human rights. Yes, we know there's a lot of sexual gender-based violence in the country. So we also want to see how we can support women, speak out, and also gain meaningful employment. In regards to the work plan, that stretches for the 1 year, we'll share, maybe we shall have a look at it with its indicators, and also the target that we have said that we need to achieve, and the timeline. So the last one that I want to go through is the is the M&E plan. In the M&E plan, yes, we have arranged it in a quarterly manner. It caters for monthly operation, and it is running for 1 year. Sorry? Oh, thank you. Now, in the first activity in the M&E plan, here we're looking at developing monitoring tools. We're looking at data collection, depending on the needs that we would have identified that we want to prioritize. And then at some level, we want to do revision of on the tools that we're going to use to do our data collection. And then the data gathered, we want to manage them and ensure that they are in safe custody for use. And then we shall also be doing field visits to see that what we are implementing is getting results for us, or we want to see the process monitoring of the activities. We shall also be doing follow-ups from the M&E point of view to see in a monthly basis, to see our progress to our partners that we are supporting. And then also report development as another standalone activity, because I'm just talking about into nitty-gritty because we have data collection as an activity in an M&E. We have report development as an M&E, but it has segments in. Then we also have data management. So under reporting, we have household progress report. We shall also be able to develop and establish reporting systems and indicators for household. And then there's fact sheet and other communication materials also will be developed to support us. There will be monthly reports, quarterly reports, midterm evaluation reports. And then we should also be able to disseminate some of this information to the households and community that we work with, so that they're also able to appreciate what we are doing as a team or plus together with them. In the data management, we are looking at
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Each person is allowed a 15-minute presentation time. And I would ask each of you in the future to please self-monitor, as we have an extensive number of countries to cover. Please add your closing remarks. Thank you. And housekeeping note, at the end of each presentation, I'll briefly flash our UnityNet logo so that in the future, we can separate each of the presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. That's correct. Yeah, please do your closing comments.
Thank you so much. And the last one, as I was talking about, we shall be able to assemble reports and the rest, but the indicators here, we're looking at the data files should be in place. We have the data book, we have the monthly progress reports, quarterly progress report, community dissemination of information, reporting system and routine monitoring tool will be in place to help us do this. Thank you. Thank you very much, team.
Thank you.
Carlos,
yes.
Just a moment. Let me flash our UnityNet logo so that in the future we can separate each of the presentations. Give me just 1 second, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. And for the next presentation, please clearly introduce the country that you're representing. Thank you. You may proceed.
Yeah, Malawi, please go ahead. Introduce yourself and the country or the chapter you are presenting for. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening again. Thanks for being on board. My name is Philbert Kato, the project director in Tanzania. Thank you for this time around for me to have the presentation. Straight on the table, I have 4 documents, but if time allows, I'll present all of them. But strategically, I'm going to present a Tanzania chapter strategic plan. To start with, yeah, my presentation commences as follows. As you can see, the displayed document here in PowerPoint. Yeah, the overview. UnityNet Tanzania Diaspora Strategic Plan, the year 2022-27 timeline years implementation. Overview. The plan is part of the UnityNet African Diaspora for Tanzania context. It reflects SGD number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 15. SGD number 13, climate action, and the leveraging SDG number 17, partnerships for goals. Clinging to SDG number 4, quality education as solution to leave no one behind. Therefore, transition goals, priorities areas in the 6 years implementation plan include the 6 areas. 1 is improve household nutrition. 2nd, improve access to quality education. 3rd, improve household income. 4th, improve water, sanitation, and hygiene services. 5th, develop climate smart innovations. 6th, improve facilities. The plan scope is to cover Lake Zone, Coastal Zone, Central Zone, Eastern Zone, and the Southern Zone, covering 16 regions out of 26 regions in Tanzania. Situation analysis. Scientifically, development of the strategic plan has to center into problems in a particular region, district, or country-wise. Here is sectors per thematic areas. One is quality education, thematic area, out school children. Findings and the source. Expected 3.9 million students of school age 7 to 17 out of school by data source UNESCO the year 2018. Another sector is water, sanitation, and hygiene, WASH. Thematic areas are 3: school water services, school sanitation services, school hygiene services. Finding: school sanitation services, 30% of school are the basic sanitation facilities. Data source is Tanzania sanitation WASH, school water sanitation hygiene assessment survey by the year 2018. Another thematic area, school hygiene services. Data finding is school out 6 of 10 schools, which is 33.8% in Tanzania, had hand washing facilities by the data source the same as the above. Climate change, the other sector is climate change, thematic area, and climate impact. Data finding 1 Celsius centigrade and 2% expectation by mid-century expectation causing erratic rainfall. Data source Ministry for Environment and Nature Conservation, the year 2020. Another sector is household income. Thematic area, household economic strengthening. Data finding and the source, national poverty line decreased from 34.4% in the year 2007 to 26.4% in the year 2018. Rural data source is Rural Tanzania 2020 survey report. Another sector, nutrition. Thematic area, children stunting and malnutrition reduction. Data finding and source, children stunting was considered by very high greater than 30% in 50 regions out of 26. Data source UNICEF, the year 2018. Plan description. Tanzania chapter plan description. The plan will evaluate the problems facing mainly local marginalized community in Tanzania, adhering to SDG number 17, which is about all partnership. Partnership will include NGOs, CBOs, interfaith organization, e.g. Catholic congregations, museums, universities, schools, local government authorities, famous and inspirational individuals, environmental activists. Yeah, not why marginalized? Because they really access human basic needs. That's why. Our plan goals and objectives. Our goal states, contribute on the improved lives of the mainly marginalized people of Tanzania throughout the programs to attain their welfare by 2027. Our objectives. 1, ensure children access to quality education and services through improved learning environment, lessening out to school children. 2, improve schools' water, sanitation, and hygiene services for children health care in schools. Number 3, enhance children, maternal, lactating, and postnatal women, improved nutrition status to the healthy welfare. 4th, contribute on the increased climate smart agriculture practices to sustain household food security. 5th, reinforce people mainly in the rural areas to partake economic interventions, economic activities for the improved household economies. The last one, foster environment self-initiatives to curb climate crisis impact for the people healthy welfare. Planning implementation, the approaches. One of our approach being programs scaling up. This means you might be having a project in a particular region, let's say region A. Now, if it works well, it can be replicated to another region. So to scale up those projects. To say, therefore, what I mean here, we need to cover all zones in Tanzania as UnityNet Tanzania in diaspora scope areas. Another thing of our approach is the right legal partnership framework. This means, therefore, whichever NGO or any stakeholder that we will partner with, that stakeholder must be having legal, must be complying with the government laws, must be having the tools for working, for instance, financial manuals. I mean, it has to meet the standard. Therefore, in the near, finally, we'll never ever partner with such a particular stakeholder. Organ, I mean, they go institution like FBOs, CBOs. The other thing of, whichever kind of project or intervention that we're going to raise, it has to be agreed by the beneficiaries. So we need to have such kind of need assessment that at the end of the day, we are going to partner. It's not we as UnityNet that we decide, but the community, the communities, the stakeholders' decision. The other thing of our approach is meet and assess partnership model. So we need to visit it before coming into grounds to have the MOUs or MOAs. We need to visit the particular office, at least to have screening if that particular NGO qualifies to partner. Yes, another item is detailed implementation plan. One, stipulated in the world plan as annexes in 60 Excel sheets for objectives. Plan subcommittees. We have committees here. We have committees, 5 subcommittees. One being partnership committee for partnership issues as a role. The other subcommittee is institution capacity building. This is for staff capacity building, training, and other issues to make sure that the staff in the UnityNet are capable to function. The other thing is legislative subcommittee. These will be checking the as UnityNet Tanzania. Do we abide to country laws so that will not end up into problems? The other subcommittee is the Secretariat subcommittee, whose role is actually to carry out administration issues and logistic issues, coordination, mediation between the UnityNet Tanzania and the UnityNet Africa diaspora officials. The other subcommittee is administration and the finance committee, whose role is actually issues connected with finances, issues, transactions, and all the procedures, compliance with the Tanzania legal, taxes authorities. Yeah. The other item is is staffing UnityNet Tanzania diaspora staffing implementation plan. As you can see, we cannot move ahead unless we have Africa diaspora coming to national president and the subordinates underneath there, the directors, UnityNet director, finance director, a national treasurer, UnityNet national secretary, national project directors, ICT, and the UnityNet advisors, and underneath national assistant project director. So such kind of teamwork will move the plan forward. Yes. After the implementation, we need to see what will be the outcomes. One, the outcomes actually are derived from the objectives, as you have seen above. One of the outcomes. One, out school children reduced, stunting and malnourished under 5 children reduced, children breastfeeding improved, food security increased in the household access to human basic needs improved due to raised income, women access and control over family resources. For instance, land actually property land as an asset, ownership. Drinking water in schools, in rural schools improved, toilet facilities in rural schools improved, and the washing facilities in rural schools improved, afforestation both in rural and urban areas improved. Yes, end of the day, we need to have the money. However, yes, as Carlos has said, meanwhile, you have not yet entered any MOE, but we need to have the focus, we need to have the projection. Here, the costing of the plan derived from the objectives and the priority actions. The plan is costed from 9 thematic areas. Estimation, after my calculation, but outside of WBS, work breakdown structure, but the projection, we would have to spend for 6 years. You are talking 6 years as a projection. We might use 599 millions Tanzania shillings. Into dollar, we say 253 and the 495.94 USD for 2022 financial year implementation. I have not done the whole 5 years because of there might be some activities amendment, currency fluctuations, and something might happen at the middle, political issues. So I have decided to have actually 1 year projection total figure, as you can see. So there's no need to go to the table because you have seen how it has been done. This actually is the summary. It's the summary of the detailed costing procedures. Yeah, to end the story short, that is an end of my overview. This is actually the overview of the whole document about Tanzania chapter strategic plan.
Thank you very much, sir. Again, I'm going to briefly share my screen to transition to the next country. Just a moment, please. Okay, Carlos, back to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. Sorry, Mr. Karu from Tanzania to Malawi. Is Malawi there?
Hello there.
Is Malawi present? Yeah, is Malawi there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much,
Okay,
Mr.
Malawi, go ahead. Malawi,
Can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for the opportunity that I
You're struggling with internet.
with my community.
Malawi? Hello, Malawi?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead,
Yes.
please. You have 15 minutes.
Yeah, actually, it's what I was actually telling you. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. You are loud and clear. You are loud and clear.
Right.
Please go ahead because of time.
Yes, so what I was saying is that I'm not.
Malawi is, we are getting your background. People are talking and can you please say something?
Yeah. But here in Malawi, we have actually a lot of things that we are intending to do as a chapter. Let me just give you an example that we have actually started doing here. For membership issue, what we did now, we wanted to have a base for a membership base so that we can move forward with the number of people that we are working on with. So what we did is to make sure that each and every member of our organization has to register with us, but through the monthly subscription or membership subscription, which is to pay some money so that we can say this is our member. That's one thing that we have actually done. We are in the process of doing that. This we are doing in preparation for the registration of the organization here in Malawi. Maybe in a near future, we are actually going to the Registrar General to do the registration issues. In terms of projects, we are having actually many projects that we have lined them up. In terms of projects, we are lined up the projects in health issues, education issues, agriculture issues, gender and elder issues, children and youth, as well as also disability. This thing now we are also thinking about the disability department, where we can also accommodate our dear brothers and sisters who are actually challenged in one way or the other. So we are also creating this department for us to go into with it as a project on its own, because we will find ways how to handle this issue with people, actually on people with disabilities. Yes, and so far, let me just say that we have not done a lot, but this is what I can present to you now, until maybe I will communicate to you in the next maybe meeting, when I also present another thing for Malawi. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for that short presentation. What's your name again?
Patrick Nkoma.
Okay, Patrick. Okay, so do you have your strategic and annual M&E and monthly plan for now?
For now, no, we do not have. But maybe what I'll do, I will
so what
just,
do you have?
As I said, I'm not ready to present anything from Malawi, because I'm just in here to be part of the meeting. Otherwise, I'm not yet ready for the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Malawi. Okay, so we heard you already. So, but please, please ensure that you prepare your the requirements and submit them to the Continental Secretary General team, so that we assemble everything together, because we don't have time now. By the end of this month, we're going to have a holistic continental plan and all the plans, including M&E, and we also going to have our design projects for 2022 and downwards. So we go right away to the next presenter, which is Nigeria. Is Nigeria there? Do we have Nigeria on board? If Nigeria is not on board, do we have Sierra Leone on board?
I see a hand raised from Ali Toure.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. Please unmute yourself, and you can do your presentation. Make sure you share your screen.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, everybody. Yes. Am I free to go now?
Yes.
Can I continue? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. You are right there.
All right. Thank you very much. Perhaps I will start with an overview. Of course, Sierra Leone is one of the poorest country. Of course, it is one of the LCD countries, the least developed countries in the world. I mean, yes, Sierra Leone's economy has seen very little in terms of structural change. The country suffers from a crucial lack of access to basic infrastructures, especially energy. Rural access to infrastructure is among the worst in Africa. Sierra Leone also has only 1.7 agricultural tractors per 100 square kilometers of arable land. The average for sub-Saharan Africa is 27.5. Only 8% of the country roads are paved, right? So that just gives you an idea of where we are in terms of infrastructure, right? Access to fresh water, energy, and agricultural inputs is still low. That's very, very serious. While the yearly quantity of rice is about 740,250 metric tons in Africa, it is only 60.392% metric tons in Sierra Leone. So this is very serious, Now, looking at what is required, we have developed a strategic plan. We've also developed an annual work plan, And we have also developed an M&E framework. Yeah. So let me start with having a quick look at our strategic plan, the things that we focused on or we looked at briefly, right? Now, organization of the plan. The plan itself is intended to be a management tool for UnityNet Sierra Leone, of which we are a member, right? So that is very serious for us, our own part, because it is the intention that it will be like a guiding document. It presents a most comprehensive compilation, of the component, the different components that we are to work with, right? So the planning process and all of decisions was reached by the board of trustees or the other experts that UnityNet Sierra Leone contracted for the sake of this thing. Now, moving forward, the plan also looked at the role and the program services. UnityNet Sierra Leone will play active role in identifying needs and bringing together all kinds of resources and services for people to support full long-term community inclusion and participation. We think community inclusion and participation is very important if we are to go down to the communities. The plan also looked at Unity Sierra Leone, as a lead in terms of collaboration, provide community organizations, with programs. We also think that when we talk about all the SDGs, our plan focuses on inclusion. So at every level of our activity, inclusion is very important, So that is very important for us. Now, the plan also look at core values, cooperating values. We think they are the fundamental values or ideas that, that is at the heart of the chapter. Those core values articulate the ideas that the chapter aspires to hold itself, accountable and for other guidance. Looking at the focus, we try to look at some core values, for instance, accountability and transparency, human rights, responsibility, respect for others, commitment and trust, networking, performance, serving people, mutual respect and partners with development humanitarian actors, including even the UnityNet Africa, right? Now, we also look at other areas. Our primary area of focus, for instance, is adopting a climate smart agriculture. With the SDGs, the world is committing to end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. We want to ensure availability and sustainability of our water resources. And at the same time, we want to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. In agriculture, of course, we are aware that the challenges and aspirations must be addressed together and simultaneously. Agriculture in the coming decades for Unity Sierra Leone chapter must feed the country, serve as the engine of growth, and adapt to climate change. Climate smart agriculture puts these conditions at the heart of transformational change in agriculture by concurrently pursuing increased productivity and resilience of food security, and of course, fostering mitigation where possible. Now, let us look at what we've planned as a chapter in terms of the annual, what we intend to do in our annual plan. Now, what we've come up with, initially, when we established the chapter, we said we brought in some members, we conducted all the election, this kind of thing. We carried that in an induction, We held series of meetings, with board members to develop aims and objectives of the organization. And of course, working with other partners and other experts to develop the strategic plan. So it involves planning. The component involves planning, okay? So also, we do what we call a planning of the annual planning. Now, another component that we thought was very important was the legalization of the chapter. To this end, we have met as a team, to kind of develop action points, which involves registration of UnityNet Sierra Leone with the relevant ministries and other institutions. For us in Sierra Leone, we have what we call the SLAs, the service level agreements, So we intend, we strive to register, and we've already started the process, developing policies. Because as an organization, we need to have policies. We need to have the due diligence that is required. So we intend to develop, we are in the process of developing financial policies, the human resource policy, the M&E framework, which we've just completed, and of course the education, and all those areas that we think, all those ministries and government parastatals which require us to have partnership with, we will develop the right policy for them. Then in terms of partnership, this of our annual plan, right? Of course, what I'm saying here, every activity here has a timeline, right? It can be monthly, and for some it's quarterly. For instance, the partnership. We want to engage in partnership with government ministries, and of course, government ministries in Sierra Leone. No other organization, or no organization, be international, CBO, NGO, you cannot avoid them, because for NGOs now to operate in Sierra Leone, they must be gazetted, and all other activities must pass through government, ministries before you can operate in this country. So we will partner with the government institutions, government ministries. We will ensure that we partner with international organizations, those like-minded organizations that that we have, those involved in agriculture sector, those involved in the education sector. All of these ones that are involved there, we want to partner with them, because together, people always say the more, the merrier. So we want to take that kind of approach. And of course, we want to look at also our biggest partner, UnityNet Africa, and ICEED, of course, our local partners like Ford, right? Moving forward, the plan also has the activity component, the rolling out of activities. Now, what we do, we look at first community engagement. This is very important, because if we are going down to those communities to tell people that, hey, you guys, you have to plant trees, you have to maintain trees, we have to ensure that those trees that we've planted, we have to ensure that we get the community at our back. We have the full support of the communities, be it at every level, the traditional chiefs, the local council at that level, and so forth and so on. And all those youth organizations that are working within the communities, we need to bring them on board. So our engagement will focus on that. So our objective for this is to increase, our objective is increased community and youth participation to climate smart agriculture interventions. The indicator, we want to see the number of communities and youths actively engage in agricultural activities to boost food security, food sufficiency. So this is very important. So the component here is meeting key stakeholders under that engagement. And the meetings here are going to be conducted in town halls, in village squares, in community, with communities, including youth. Youth, women are going to be part of this. And this we intend to do, to undertake throughout the year, because you don't just meet and leave. Sometimes you continue engagement, you strengthen, you ensure that it is sustained, you ensure that people are going through. When we come to M&E framework, we'll talk about short engagement and how they are sustained. Now, the second objective is increase climate resilience and smart agricultural production. Here, what we want to intend to do. UnityNet Sierra Leone will look at those structures that will support communities to engage in rice farming. We have problem of food sufficiency in this country. Almost 80 to 95% of the rice we eat, we import. So what is very important, what is very common here is that subsistence farming. And for us, we want to go beyond subsistence farming with increased participation of the people. So what we do is to move forward, increase resilience. So we support communities to engage in rice farming. This for us is very important. Also, we work with youths and community members to plant climate resilient trees and also maintain peace trees. We've already started in the last project to plant those trees. So we will continue to maintain those trees, and at the same time, have a rethink of extending, adding more, because as we speak, there are still people going about, government has not totally put a ban on tree cutting. So we will need to replace. And some of those trees, because they were planted during the dry season, there is every likelihood that they are, some have dried up. So we want to continue to see how those trees that are planted, they are still, if they are not there, they will continue to put them there. Then also, under agricultural activities and the protection of the ecosystem, UnityNet Sierra Leone will work with youth, community members to plant climate trees. So of course, I have just said that. So also, we intend to support gardens, school gardens in communities. We have the free quality education that the government has come up with and is doing well, which saw a huge number of children going to school. But education, free quality education alone, education involves a wholesome development of a child. It involves the health aspect. It involves food, because if a child doesn't have food to go to school, that's the problem. So what we intend to do as a chapter, hello, are you getting me?
Yes, please continue. We do hear you. And you have 5 more minutes to wrap up. Thank you.
All right, so we support school gardens in our communities. You know, we want to engage school authorities. We want to engage the communities to give us land, school authorities, and we also want to engage the ministry so that they will help us with seedlings and other things and other partners that will support, so that we'll make sure that feeding of those children, we start to look at ways of getting the food that we eat within the communities. So for us, that is very important also. Then of course, partners, you know, and other partners. The entrepreneurship aspect, we want to provide support to you to undertake income generating activities and value addition. You know, yes, if you are also farming, where are you going to sell the food? Some people, yes, even some of the cassava that we grow, if we add value to it, we have gari. So how do we ensure that these youths are growing cassava after they've harvested those cassava? Because it is what we call perishable goods, we need to make sure that we add value to it. And that value addition is what we want to support, what we want to work with other people. We also establish and run parent support groups to support children education. Through these livelihood activities, when we have the parent support groups, they will be able to support their children, you know, not for school fees alone, but also for feeding, because there is no longer a school business, they will not have school fees, but for feeding, the health aspect, and for those little things that a child might need before he or she goes to school. That's very important. So we want to establish strong support group system. Objective 3, community people, youth receive entrepreneurial skills. This we want to do. You cannot tell people to do this if the youth are not being trained. That's a problem. UnityNet Sierra Leone, we want to train youth and community members on income generating activities and value addition. Of course, the Unity Fund is obtain funding for the implementation. Of course, all of this cannot go without funding. So what do? We want to identify funders. We first of all identify funders, donor partners in and out of this country, and of course, we want to engage in fundraising activities. And of course, developing proposals, you know, that we donors will buy. Monitoring and evaluation. Again, that's very important for us. We want to see how we continue to monitor the processes as the 5th objective. Then also, we look at other areas in terms of, you know, how we can improve, you know, the life of people. We say improve access to health, you know, healthcare sectors, advocate accessibility and affordability. This is so, especially with persons with disability. The 2011 Act actually advocates for persons persons with disabilities to have free access to health care facilities. Again, to our extent. So we want to ensure that with strong advocacy, we are able to push this through, to see to it that yes, every PHU, every hospital respect this act. Monitoring and supporting free quality education. We are on record. We have very sound system now wherein a whole lot of people are going. So we want to support free quality education by monitoring, strengthening, supporting the government, all the deputy directors in all the districts to help them. Work with Hands Off Our Gas campaign. The First Lady has started Hands Off Our Gas campaign. We want to ensure that we work with her. We want to ensure that so that violations, gender-based violence, children's violence will come to an end, or will be suppressed at all levels with our support, right? So also in terms of the M&E framework, if chance will permit me, basically we've developed an M&E framework that we want to look at. Let me just focus on analyzing level of risk analysis. Here, we want to see, even as we start our activity, in terms of the input that are available, where is the risk coming in? What is the assumption? When we look at the output level, what is the moderate? What is the risk? Is there moderate risk? We want to look at low level risk, moderate risk, and high risk as we move along, right? So that is very important for us. And also, not sabi me. Hello. Okay, I think my time is off. Not sabi me.
Well, if you finish, since there's a presentation on board, how long will it take you to finish? Or are you finished now?
Well, no, no. Well, if my time is off, then I will just end it there. But actually, we have this M&E framework, which I just wanted to look at briefly, and that we want to look at building the performance framework. You know, we want to look at for us, we want to try to build a performance framework which we work with. You know, key elements of the performance framework or measurement framework will be indicators, the sources of data, data collection methods, all of those things we want to look at them. Yeah. So we'll also look at methodology under the M&E, how we go about to do this kind of thing, collect data, analyzing data. The M&E components also look at them. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Carlos, I see you sharing your screen. Since this is dealing with Sierra Leone, would you like to complete this presentation?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, Carlos, back to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Ali Toure from Sierra Leone, and thank you and your team for well done presentation, and also the others. Already I have your presentations with me, so I guess you submitted them to the Continental Secretary General. So thank you once again, and we move to the next one, which is, please, Guinea is going to wait. Guinea is going to wait. So we want to finish with the English countries and move to the French countries. So we move to Ghana, and after Ghana, we go back to Guinea. Okay, no. We go to Ghana. From Ghana, we go to South Africa, and from there we come to Guinea, and from Guinea we go to Benin, DRC, and the last one is Egypt, if Egypt is there. Thank you. So let's get Ghana on board. Ghana, are you there? I saw Ghana. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Go ahead, Ghana.
Good evening.
You want to share your
afternoon.
screen? Yes.
Yes. No, I don't have screen right now because of time.
All right.
So, hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. Good
Please introduce yourself. Please introduce yourself and the country, the chapter you are coming from, please.
My name is Umar Adam from Ghana, and I'm representing UnityNet.
Yeah, Omar, we are waiting on you. Just go ahead. You have 15 minutes. Omar, are you there?
It seems that his screen is frozen. He may have to go out and come back in.
Okay, do we have South Africa standby? Can you unmute yourself? Steve, please.
Yes.
Steve, please, you from South Africa? Who is going to present for South Africa?
Henry van der Merwe is going to present for South Africa. Can you hear me?
And so
You're very low. Your volume is very low.
Is my volume very loud? I'm going to share my screen. If somebody else is sharing, can you please stop?
One of your team members may have to assist you. We cannot hear you clearly.
Can you hear me clearly? Andrew, can you hear me?
We
can hear you.
Yes, it's low, but just speak up. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Okay, that's right. That's good.
Can you see my screen?
We saw it briefly, but yes, it seems we can
Oh,
again. It's coming off and on, Henrik.
I don't know what is spotting now. I see your screen, Andrew. I see Andrew Networks, but I don't see my screen.
We did see South Africa business plan briefly. Yes, there it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just get to the beginning of the presentation. There is a business plan in printed form available that is with Heather that you can send on in due time. Our presentation around what's going on in South Africa. I'm going to be very brief and just thank the team of people that's working with us. To start with, Princess Chepi, myself, Faslin van der Schuyf, Ruth Boysen, Master Daniel, Heather, Paul, and Heidi. The important things that we want to emphasize is the fact that we in South Africa have 240 plus minus small scale farmers. That is like the rest of the world, with 500 small scale farmers in dire need for assistance. And a lot of these people are living below the upper and lower food poverty lines. Our vision is transforming South Africa's small scale family farming, playing a part in a long-term global food and nutritional security, tracking rural poverty and hunger, achieving the sustainable development goals. The mission is collectively joining forces with NGOs to create a horizontal cluster of support. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that we can read in the document. Driving opportunities is investments needed to help optimize the efficiency, competitive sustainability of commercial and small-scale farming, and transforming small-scale agriculture to more commercial viable and to tackle poverty and hunger. Understanding the diversity of small-scale farming, create alternative employment and livelihood options, the structural changes in food systems, wider economic for the livelihoods of different categories of small-scale farmers, and meeting the growing food demand. Our understanding is that the demand for food is going to increase with about 58% in the next 5 years. Driving transformation, long-term vision and strategies for transformation set within wider food system framework, multi-stakeholder involvement, influential coalition for change, and greater public understanding and support. Suggested solutions is spelled out in the document properly, and I will leave it for people to study the document itself, but it focuses on economic and social well-being, food and nutritional security, and environmental sustainability. Solution stages, we can spend some time on that. One of the most important things is the local agri-labs for support and the seed banks that needs to get in place. We've come up with a roadmap over a 5-year period, identifying projects and source grant funding, appoint service providers, and do a proper skills audit. Skills in research will play a very important role in the projects that we are going to initiate, and we believe that vertical and horizontal clustering is going to give us a sustainable network that we require with ongoing research and skills training. Analysis, I will come back to that, and implement expansion, in year 5, implement the expansion plan. There are some of the happy faces that we've got in South Africa. We've got an operational plan in place that is going to be circulated, and we've got emphasis on information technology and equipment that's required for small-scale farming. The project-based knowledge transfer is very important, starting with the school feeding schemes and cover the whole spectrum of small-scale farming in South Africa. Impact, M&E, corporate social responsibility, advise entrepreneurs on working conditions and rights, as well as safety issues such as environmental waste and energy, embracing corporate social responsibility, many opportunities for current and future businesses of our clients as a source of future grant funding as well. The importance of female entrepreneurship is essential for inclusive economic growth, youth employment, by creating employment possibilities for small and medium-sized enterprises. We help to strengthen the economy and economic potential for young people. So you can see that our monitoring and evaluation is based on the measuring of impact with this econometrics that we are referring to trade promotions, food security, and innovation. Some information on the accredited training programs that we want to roll out. The information on some of the projects that we envisage. And in conclusion, financial requirements is very important and needs to be project-based per province, and the financial, the business plan is available now. We've got a very strong support team, and we believe that research projects covering current projects and other planned projects will help us with sustainability and achieving our goals. And this is a clear call to action in South Africa. And of course, we are not alone. We are part of the global community. Thank you very much. I hope I've done it in time.
Well, thank you very much. Hi, Henrik, as well. Again, Carlos, I'm going to briefly share my screen and then turn it back to you. Back to you, Carlos.
Thank you very much, Henrik.
And Ghana has come back into the room for your information, Carlos.
We appreciate your presentation in terms of our logic framework. What's next? We're not only going to look at agriculture, but we're also going to look at the broader framework in terms of safety and other in terms of potent in our component. That particular broad phrase. Thank you. Okay, we go straight to Ghana. Ghana, can you go ahead? Omar, you're there?
My name is Umar Adam from Ghana, and I'm representing UnityNet Ghana chapter, and we put our strategic plan for 2022-2027, and we categorize the strategy for the project that we're supposed to do. First, we look at education. Secondly, youth and women empowerment and development, and climate change, gender equality, and good governance and democratic peaceful election in Africa. So these are the 5 areas that we are looking for the 5 years plan. And strategically, we take climate change as the first project within 1 year. In every year, we will have 5 programs, 5 implementation programs in every year. It go with each quarter, we'll implement 1 project at the top. Education will be the first, followed by youth and women development and empowerment, followed by climate change, gender equality, and good governance, which will be the last within the year. So in every year, we look at climate change. We plan to plant a tree, 20 million tree. In 5 years, we are planning to plant 100 million trees in Ghana for the climate change project. 100 million in 5 years, we plant 20 million in each year. So by the 5 years plan, we plant 100 million. And secondly, the good governance and democratic election in Africa. We know within the 5 years in Africa, we hold the election in every 2 years, being it a parliamentary, presidential, and district level. So in every year, there is a serious education program for the youth, so that we put a lot of calling about peaceful election and democratic governance. And in every year, we plan to make sure that we train 5,000 youths concerning peaceful election and democratic governance. So we are looking by within the 5 years, we'll train more than 25,000 youths within the 5 years. So that is our strategic plan for the 5 years. So every year we'll train 5,000. So in total, we'll get 25,000 youth in the 5 years plan that we project. And the youth and women development. The youth and women development, we realize that it come across with the education. So with the education that we projected, that most of our students, when they finish secondary school, they don't have a skills for entrepreneurship. So we merge education and the youth and women project. So we are going to train more than 6 secondary schools. We are going to train 5 secondary schools, so that by the 5 years we will have 25 secondary schools being trained in entrepreneurship. So these five secondary schools, in each secondary school, we know we will have more than 2,000 students. So these 2,000 students will be training them in entrepreneurship. By the time the year ends, they will have a skills on entrepreneurship. So 2,000 in every year, we will target 2,000 women and youths in entrepreneurship. So by the 5 years project, we'll end up training 10,000 women and youth in entrepreneurship. And lastly, about the gender equality. And we realize now there's a change frame of gender equality project in Africa. So as an Africans, our thinking and our mentality concerning gender is different. The moment you speak about gender, people divert with a different mentality about gays and lesbians, projecting them to be legalized in our African country. So we will make sure that the kind of thinking of gender equality in Africa will be diverted in total. So we will target the youth out of school. So the youth who are out of school are our target. So we'll make sure that we target at least we target 500 youths out of school, so that we'll train them concerning the gender equality and the understanding of gender equality in our community. So by the 5 years program or agenda, we'll get at least 1,000 youths to understand the gender equality. So our implementation and the action plan of Unique Network Ghana chapter will come out with a lot of programs within a year. We will implement 5 programs within the 5 agendas that we talk of: education, youth and women development, climate change, gender equality, and good governance and democratic peaceful election. So we will make sure that these 5 thematic areas will be trained, will be implemented every year. By the 5 years agenda, we'll get the number of targets that we were looking for. And besides that, today we are looking at the financial targets. And we realize that as a local or national chapter, we'll raise we'll make sure that we'll raise some funds that will support a project, or we'll put a lot of proposals to our local government department, so that they can support our plans and programs. And we'll look at additionally the donor funding. And moreover, Ghana chapter, we put on a request for registration of the chapter, and we get the form. We are now planning to register the chapter. So as we speak right now, we are trying to organize the structure. In the structure, right, we have five members in the structure. So as we move on, we'll get the country coordinator, followed by one deputy secretary, and the program coordinator and the communication officer. So these are the structures that we plan to have for now, before the project that we intend to take off. And above all, we are looking at the government partnership. So when you look at most of the target area that we did, it come out with the goals, the sustainable development goals. And when you look at Goal 13, Goal 10, Goal 16, Goal 4, and Goal 1. So all these projects are capable with these goals. So whilst we are planning or projecting these programs, we'll be writing proposals to the donor funders who are looking at these goals, so that we can get support to implement it. And we also have another registration, because if we in Ghana before you can get fully endorsed by government, you have to register with the Department of Registrar General and Social Welfare and the Minister of Gender. So for now, the register department, we took I went and take a form for the registration. But I'm sure by next week, good information will come out for the registration. And about the monitoring and evaluation too. So for now, because of the structure that we put, we cannot monitor ourselves and evaluate ourselves. We'll make sure we get some certain embassies that will give us donation, and with a collaboration with our local district officers, so that they will evaluate our work. That's who will report to them, both the local and international. And reporting in every project that we do, make sure that there will be a report, a video, pictures that will come out as an evidence of our program. And the monitor evaluation will come out with a 2-page, both the locally and the internally survey. Because I know some members or some of our West African members will have, whenever we have, let's say we have a donor fund that will support us, to invite even some of our West African members. They can be an evidence of our evaluation and monitoring. So we are looking at this, if we have enough donors to support us. And I think for now, we did not get fully implementation of our program now. Now, what we write in details, I'll make sure that I'll make the presentation, I'll make hard copy presentation or soft copy presentation to the secretariat. For now, I put on some certain plans concerning the project that we intend to do in Ghana. So within 5 years, we intend to plant 100 million trees in Ghana. And every year we plan to put 20 million. And above all, in democratic issues, women and youth program, and the youth and the climate change. So this is what we intend doing within 5 years. And I'm sure in every 2 months, we'll be having program, we'll be implementing program, and we'll be having our annual report on each program that we do every month. So I think this is what we have for now. I'll make a nice presentation to the secretary. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Again, Carlos, I'm going to take a brief break. Also, for housekeeping purposes, I'm going to end the recording and then begin again so that we can easily edit the material. Thank you. Just a moment.